Discover the incredible truth. How a lonely customer's hidden identity changed her life forever. In the heart of Chicago, where the cacophony of life beats louder than a drum, Sarah stood behind the counter of Joe's Diner, the place where dreams melted into the savory scent of bacon. She was a 32-year-old waitress, her hands always busy serving coffee and smiles. Yet inside, she felt invisible. Every clink of a mug sent ripples through her, reminding her how alone she truly was. Juggling 2 jobs to support her 8-year-old son, she felt the sharp pain of juggling bills and missed dreams of painting and writing, collecting dust in the corners of her heart. The shadow of abandonment loomed tall, courtesy of a rift with her mother that never seemed to heal. Yet, in this bustling urban sprawl, every day was a new chance to bring light to others, even while she wore the guise of a clown, hiding her tears beneath the smile. As the train rattled past, shaking the very floor beneath her feet, she watched faces come and go. Each customer's laughter and chatter dulled her own loneliness, and the aroma of fresh coffee became both comfort and a veil to her yearning heart. Then came Mr. Jenkins, a regular with twinkling eyes that told tales beyond his years. It started small. A casual exchange over scrambled eggs and toast turned into hours of heartfelt stories shared across the counter. "You know, Sarah," he said one morning, leaning closer, his voice warm like a cozy blanket, "you have something special in you. A spark just waiting to blaze." A chuckle bubbled from her lips, but inside, his words ignited a flicker of hope. The days slipped by in a blur of dishes and fleeting conversations. Mr. Jenkins became her unlikely mentor, gently coaxing her to reveal the artist hiding within. "Why not share your story at the community potluck?" he suggested with a grin. Sarah's heart raced, but doubt wrapped around her like a thick fog. What did she have to say? She was just a waitress. As the potluck approached, she felt an itch to reclaim those buried dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. It was the night of the potluck. Sarah took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest as she stepped onto the makeshift stage. She could feel the eyes of her community on her, judgment and expectation hanging in the air like a thick mist. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, the door swung open with a creak. Her mother stood there, a figure from her past wrapped in years of unresolved hurt and stinging resentment. The room fell silent as the air crackled with tension. The sight of her mother unleashed a storm of emotions. Indignation flared through her, a fierce urge to hold back raw truths juxtaposed with the desperate need for connection. What do I say? Her thoughts raced. The weight of her mother's gaze felt like chains, binding her to a narrative she longed to escape. As Sarah began to speak, swallowing the lump in her throat, the crowd leaned in, breaths held. Would this be the moment she found her voice? The moment of her life redefined? Or the moment she lost the battle of her heart once more? All eyes remained glued to her as the weight of her truth hung in the air, thick with anticipation. Would she confront the past and finally allow her own heart to be seen? As Sarah opened her mouth, silence draped over the room like a heavy blanket. There was a part of her that ached to scream at her mother, to unleash all the pain stored away for years, but another part was petrified of the eruption. Their complex history clung to her like an unwieldy shadow. Hi, she stammered, her voice shaking. "I'm Sarah, and well, I've been thinking a lot about how we connect." The words felt foreign as they escaped her lips, but she pressed on. She could feel Mr. Jenkins's encouraging smile tucked away in the back of her thoughts, prompting her to dig deeper. Her mother's expression was inscrutable, the frown lines etched into her brow speaking volumes about the years of resentment that still simmered between them. Sarah's heart raced, remembering the late nights filled with silent treatments and unspoken words. "I want to share a story not just for me, but for all of us who feel unheard." The audience shifted, leaning forward, drawn into the emotional tide that began to envelop her. Sarah closed her eyes for a heartbeat, allowing the memories to flood in. The kitchen table where dreams dissolved into arguments. The empty promises wrapped in silent tension, it all could no longer be her prison. "I'm a waitress at Joe's Diner," she began, her voice slowly gaining strength. "But I'm also a single mom, an artist yearning to be seen. I've spent so long pretending everything is okay, hiding behind a smile, while inside I felt invisible." A few gasps floated through the crowd, and she pressed on, her voice rising with passion. "What if the things that break us are also what pull us together? We have stories inside us, stories that deserve to be told." The weight of her mother's gaze felt lighter now, as if Sarah was lifting the burdens they both carried. Then, facing her mother directly, Sarah continued, "Mom, I've carried this grief alone. I've longed for a connection with you, even when I pushed you away. I'm learning to face the messy parts of my life, and I want us to heal together." Every word cracked open the dam of emotions, painting vivid images for everyone present. A silent unity settled over the room, and she could see their faces reflecting their own struggles, their own families. For a moment, the haze of hurt that loomed faded into something brighter. It was a fragile hope, but a hope nonetheless. Her mother inhaled sharply, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. The tension in the air shifted, no longer a heavy burden, but a spark of realization. Could they redefine their relationship? Could they acknowledge the pain, yet choose to move forward? As Sarah finished her speech, the applause erupted, a warm wave of acceptance pulsed through her. The cheers and claps filled the space, affirming her courage. But even amid the joy, she felt a rising swell of uncertainty. Would her mother respond? Before she could catch her breath, her mother stepped forward, the silence returning. "I'm so proud of you," she murmured, her voice trembling. The crowd stirred with anticipation. Faces turned toward Sarah, who held her breath, an unfamiliar blend of vulnerability and hope coursing through her. Would this be the beginning of healing, or would new wounds open where old ones had begun to mend? Sarah's heart raced as she caught her mother's gaze, the promise of something transformative hanging in the balance. The moment hung in the air, thick and charged. Sarah's heart pounded as she searched her mother's face for any sign, hoping for a flicker of understanding or perhaps an invitation to bridge the chasm that had grown between them. But her mother's expression remained uncertain, caught somewhere between relief and fear. "Sarah," her mother began, her voice shaky, still unsure how to move forward in this new openness. "I've never wanted to let you go. I was just lost. I didn't know how to be the mother you needed." The audience collectively inhaled, the room suspended in a spell of raw honesty. Sarah wanted to leap forward, to pull her mother into a hug that would erase the years of sorrow they shared. Instead, she found herself frozen, caught in the tension of their past. "Mom, we can find our way back to each other. But you need to let me in," Sarah implored, a fire kindling in her chest. "Please, don't hide anymore." Her mother's eyes glistened as she nodded slowly, as if accepting an unspoken challenge. "I know I have so many regrets, and all those times I didn't listen. I thought I was protecting us. But I see now, I see you, Sarah, and I want to try. I really do." As she spoke, a flicker of hope ignited in Sarah's heart. Could this truly be their turning point? A light broke through the fog of years of grievances, illuminating a path neither had dared to tread before. The crowd began to murmur with encouragement, their shared experiences echoing in the space. Sarah caught a glimpse of faces in the audience, many of them nodding as they absorbed the moment. These were people who, like her, had felt the sting of disconnect in their own relationships. It struck her deeply, a shared human experience, a weave of tales linking them all. "Mom," Sarah continued, her voice stronger, grounded in gratitude. "Life is messy. We can't fix everything overnight, but we can take small steps. Together." As the words settled, a profound silence followed. Then her mother reached out, trembling fingers brushing against Sarah's hand. It sent a rush of warmth through her, a bridge across the years of hurt. "I love you," her mother whispered, breaking the dam that had kept their emotions at bay. The sincerity in those words filled the air like sunlight breaking through clouds. "I love you too," Sarah replied, her throat tightening as she felt tears of relief spill over. It was a simple phrase, often spoken, but in this moment, it carried the weight of everything they had been through. The applause erupted again, but this time it felt different. It resonated with understanding, acceptance. People were no longer just spectators. They were a community bound by their own battles, witnessing a shift from vulnerability to connection. As the crowd cheered, Sarah turned to her mother, feeling something wonderful begin to bloom between them, a fragile yet tenacious bond. But as they stood together, basking in the warmth of the moment, Sarah realized a deeper truth loomed just below the surface. What if her mother had a story of her own, a truth that had been hidden all these years, something that could change everything they thought they knew about each other? Suddenly, Sarah felt small tremors of fear mixed with curiosity. Was she ready to uncover that part of their shared history? As they stepped off the stage, surrounded by supportive whispers and hopeful smiles, Sarah braced herself, her heart pounding with anticipation and dread. Would they be able to handle the deeper truths waiting to be unearthed? As Sarah and her mother stepped away from the stage, a new energy swirled around them. The weight of the moment hung lightly in the air, but uncertainty lingered at the edges of their newfound connection. Sarah could feel her pulse quicken as they reached the dimly lit hallway, away from the prying eyes of the audience. It was like stepping into an uncharted territory, where every shadow seemed to conceal whispers of the past. "Are you okay?" her mother asked, glancing over, vulnerability still etched on her features. Sarah nodded, but the words were caught in her throat. She was okay, yes, but the question of their shared history loomed larger than ever. "Mom," she said with a brave breath, her voice softer now. "I need to know, are there things about your past you've never shared with me?" The question slipped out, hesitant but clear. Even in the fleeting light of their moment, the shadows of unspoken truths loomed large. Her mother inhaled sharply, her brow furrowing as if the weight of the world pressed upon her shoulders. "There are things I kept from you to protect you, things I thought you were too young to understand," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But now I think it's time. We're both adults now, Mom. I can handle it," Sarah replied, thrusting herself into the unknown. The challenge fueled her resolve. She needed to know the woman standing before her, not just as her mother, but as a person, someone with her own flawed history. They found a quiet corner at the back of the venue, the hum of conversations fading into a distant echo. Sarah's heart raced. This was at the moment to unravel a lifetime of secrecy. "What is it?" Her mother hesitated, eyes trained on the floor, as if the answers might glitter there among the speckled tiles. "There was a time when I felt incredibly alone. Before you were born, I made choices I wish I could take back. I didn't know how to be the mother you needed because I hardly knew myself." Sarah's breath hitched. It was there, the first crack in the wall that had kept them apart. "What choices?" With a resigned sigh, her mother finally lifted her gaze, searching for the right words. "I came to this city for a fresh start, but I got lost in it. I met people who hurt me, and I made friends with those who only wanted to use me. I wanted to escape my past, but instead, I ended up repeating it." The hurt behind her mother's words swirled around them, coiling like smoke. Sarah felt a mix of warmth and chill. This was more than she had expected. "Did you ever think about telling me?" "I wanted to, but I thought you'd judge me," her mother confessed, tears glistening in her eyes. "I thought you'd be ashamed of me. I was trying to shield you from my mistakes, thinking you'd be better off not knowing." "Mom," Sarah interrupted, her heart breaking for both of them. "Life isn't about being perfect. It's about learning and growing. I want to understand you. I want to know everything, even if it hurts." There was a long silence between them, heavy with the weight of revelations. Then, her mother finally took a deep breath, a flicker of determination shining in her eyes. "All right, but you have to promise me something. Promise me you won't turn away once you learn the truth." "I promise," Sarah vowed solemnly. The air crackled as they stood on the brink of an unveiling. Would this be the key to unlocking the bond that had so long been strained? Just then, a figure slipped past them, breaking their moment. Sarah turned, catching a glimpse of an older woman in a faded coat, her face shadowed but strangely familiar. A jolt of recognition struck Sarah like a lightning bolt. "Wait, I know her." As she stepped forward, curiosity ignited within her. Who was this woman, and why did she feel like a ghost from both their pasts? With her heart racing, Sarah turned back to her mother. "Mom, do you see her? Do you know her?" A crack of tension darkened her mother's expression, the weight of the moment crashing down again. "What have I done?" her mother murmured, a mix of fear and recognition washing over her face. Everything was shifting, and Sarah realized they were just beginning to peel back the layers of their tangled story. What truths awaited them in the depths of their shared history? Sarah took a hesitant step toward the older woman. Each step felt heavy with anticipation, as if the air had thickened around them, charging the moment with unspoken possibilities. "Do you recognize her, Mom?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Her mother's face, normally a calm pool of composure, shifted into a storm of emotions: shock, fear, and something else, something deeper that Sarah couldn't quite place. I think I do," she whispered, her voice barely rising above the low murmur of the venue's chatter. The woman turned slightly, still shrouded in mystery, and for a heartbeat, Sarah thought she could see familiar features, eyes that mirrored her own, a subtle curve of the mouth that felt like home. Could this be another thread in the complicated tapestry of their lives, one that had been hidden for far too long? "Mom," Sarah urged, reaching for clarity. "What do you know about her?" A deep breath escaped her mother, the air quavering like a fragile promise. "She was someone from my past, someone I thought I had left behind." "Why does that matter now?" The challenge hung curiously between them, filled with the weight of revelations yet to come. "What part did she play?" Her mother's gaze dropped to the floor, trembling like fallen leaves in the wind. "She was part of my life when I was lost. A friend, or perhaps a crutch, someone who filled the void when I was too broken to see what was truly important." "But is that all she was?" Sarah pressed, sensing the tension in her mother's voice. "Is there something more than just a friend?" Her mother clenched her jaw, as if wrestling with the enormity of her own memories. "Your father and I were struggling. She became a lifeline for me then. But in a world where escape seemed possible, I made terrible choices. Choices I believed were innocent, but ultimately weren't." The tightness in Sarah's chest expanded, like an unwelcome panic that threatened to spill over. "What terrible choices?" Her mother hesitated, the silhouette of the older woman still lingering uncertainly in the corner of her vision. "She introduced me to a world of things I wasn't ready for: parties, freedom, and the allure of living on the edge. I lost myself in that escape, and when I came back," she paused, drawing in a shaky breath. "When I came back, I only had you, and I wanted to protect you from all of that." The truth hung in the air, heavy and daunting. Just then, the woman turned fully to face them, the light catching her features and illuminating the lines of age and wisdom. There was a flicker of recognition, her eyes widening as they met Sarah's. "It's you," the woman said softly, her voice soft yet firm. "You look just like her." Sarah's heart pounded. "You know me?" The woman stepped closer, a mix of apprehension and warmth washing over her face. "I was there for your mother when she needed someone. The choices she made led to your beautiful life. And I was wrong to leave her." "Leave her?" Sarah felt it slip out before she could think. Wasn't she the one who walked away? Tension crackled, and Sarah's mother reached out, gripping her daughter's arm, as if to anchor them both against the tide of emotions that threatened to pull them under. "She didn't want to leave me," she murmured. "Not really." The room pulsed around them, as whispers turned into echoes of the past and collided with the present moment. Sarah was caught between the two women, each carrying pieces of a past she barely understood. "I thought I had buried all of this," her mother confessed, tears pooling in her eyes, shimmering like fragile glass. "But here we are. It's all coming back." But before Sarah could respond, the older woman spoke again, her voice steady. "There are things you still don't know, Sarah, things that I can explain if you'll let me." A mix of fear and hope tightened in Sarah's chest, the stories waiting to be uncovered feeling alive and frayed. She glanced at her mother, both terrified and brave. Would this be the moment they finally unspooled the threads of their tangled history? "What do we do now?" Sarah whispered, knowing the answer might change everything. The air stood still, and the three of them stood at the brink of discovery, the path forward illuminated by shadows of the past. The weight of potential truths pressed upon them. Would they uncover the roots of their shared heartache and forge a new path together? The moment of truth awaited them, but Sarah felt a stirring in the air, a sense of urgency that whispered of consequences yet to unfold. What revelations lay ahead, and would they be ready to face them? Sarah's heart raced like a marathon runner sprinting toward the finish line. The air buzzed with uncharted emotions, weaving a complex tapestry of anticipation and dread that had the power to unravel everything she knew. "What is it?" she blurted, her voice barely steady. "What I need to know." The older woman took a breath, her gaze settling on Sarah's mother before returning to her. "There was a time, a long time ago, when your mom faced a choice that changed her life and yours forever." Her voice was calm, but carried the weight of 1,000 words. Sarah shifted slightly, the warmth of her mother's grip grounding her in reality. "What kind of choice?" Her mother swallowed hard, a flicker of fear shadowing her features. "I thought I could outrun my past, but it's never as simple as that, is it? I made choices that impacted you before you were even here." The older woman stepped closer. "Your mother had a chance to leave everything behind. I helped her escape from a life filled with hurt, but it also meant leaving certain people behind, people who loved her." "People?" Sarah echoed. "Like you? Like me?" the woman replied, her voice trembling with the emotion of years lost. "We were so close, but then everything spiraled. I don't want to bring pain back into your lives, but it's time for the truth." Tension thickened the air, and Sarah felt herself teetering on the edge, drawn into a chasm of history that threatened to swallow them whole. What was her name? Devon. The name lingered in the room like a whisper from a ghost. Sarah's heart pounded. Sensing the name was more than just a remnant of the past, it might be the key to her mother's secrets. Her mother closed her eyes, as if bracing herself against an unseen force. "Devon was not just a friend. She was everything when I was lost. But I was a kid trying to figure out life, and I hurt her. I thought running away was the answer, but it only deepened the wounds." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. "You're saying you left her?" "I thought I had to. That it was the only way to save us both," her mother said, voice cracking under the weight of her admission. Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, a swirl of empathy and confusion causing her heart to ache for the two women standing before her. "And how does this connect to me? What does it mean?" The older woman stepped forward, her eyes sharp. "It means you inherited more than love from your mother. It means you carry the weight of all the decisions made before you were even born, the sacrifices, the unfulfilled promises." Silence descended, thickening around them. The world outside felt distant and muted, as if they were the only three people in existence. Sarah's mind raced. The feelings that coursed through her were intoxicating and terrifying. Did Devon ever regret it? Sarah finally asked, her voice trembling with fear. Does she even want to be back? The older woman's expression softened, but the shadows of the past clung to her like a shroud. Regret is a bitter word. Sometimes life gives you choices that change everything, and sometimes those choices stay with you forever. Her mother drew a shaky breath. "I thought I buried it all, but it seems fate has other plans." Suddenly, the room felt claustrophobic, thoughts weaving a net around Sarah's mind. "So what now? Are we meant to unpack all of this? Do we?" The older woman interrupted, her voice steady. "You need to understand your mother's heart and what Devon means to both of you. I am not just a ghost from the past. I can help you both reconcile this history." In that moment of reckoning, Sarah felt a mix of fear and determination surging. Could they really uncover the truths that lay buried in their lives? Could they finally bridge the gaps and heal? As questions swirled, the night felt laden with the promise of revelation. What would they learn about the ties that bound them? And could they find a way to move forward? Sarah glanced at her mother, the familiar connection intertwined with the mystery that loomed before them. The unraveling of their family history beckoned, and in the soft glow of hope, she realized this was only the beginning. "What happens if we dive deeper?" Sarah asked, curiosity tinged with anticipation. The older woman offered a knowing smile. "Then you may discover that facing the past can lead to a future you never expected." The tension hung in the air, brimming with possibility. Would they have the courage to explore the tangled web of love, loss, and reconciliation? Sarah's pulse quickened, matching the uncertainty in the room. Her mother's past was a carefully quilted fabric of love and regret, and now it seemed the seams were starting to unravel. She looked from her mother's conflicted eyes to the older woman's firm expression, grappling with the weight of what lay ahead. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" Sarah's voice was barely above a whisper. "I'm here to help you," the older woman affirmed, a fierce determination in her eyes. "But it takes the willingness to face pain. To find Devon, we need to go back to where it all began. But where is where it all began? Sarah asked, her mind racing. Her mother took a deep breath, gathering herself. The small town where I grew up. It has so many memories, both good and bad. Some I'd rather forget. The older woman nodded. Memories can be tricky. They tend to stick around, even if you try to bury them. But you can choose how you carry them forward. The air was thick with need and hesitation. They stood on the brink of a journey that could reshape everything they thought they knew. Sarah felt a tremor of excitement amidst her fears. What if they could finally break the cycle of silence? What if she doesn't want to see you? What if it hurts her even more? Sarah blurted, the anxiety spilling over. Her mother's expression softened, regret settling over her like a heavy cloak. That's the risk, isn't it? But I can't keep running. I owe it to her and to myself. The room fell silent, the gravity of that moment settling in. Sarah was caught in an emotional tempest, torn between wanting to protect her mother and urging her to confront the shadows they had long avoided. There was a flicker of hope in the older woman's eyes. You may learn parts of your mother that were hidden away. Understanding the past can be the first step to healing wounds too deep for band-aids. Then let us do it, Sarah declared, feeling the surge of determination rising within her. Let us find Devon. Her mother's eyes widened, and a smile broke through her fear. You really want to? More than anything, Sarah said, the conviction in her voice surprising even herself. She felt more than just the connection between them. She felt a mission, a chance to pull their tangled threads of history back into a tapestry of understanding. They made plans to leave the next morning, spiraling through logistics and what to say. Sarah felt the weight of the impending journey settle over her. Could confronting the past unearth truths that would bring them closer or tear them apart? Later that night, as Sarah lay in bed, she couldn't shake the sense of impending change. The walls of her home felt both familiar and foreign, shrouded now by the prospect of encounters yet to come. As she drifted to sleep, thoughts of Devon swirled in her mind. Would she be the key to their healing? Would she be welcoming? Or would her heart remain closed, forever haunted by the memories of the past? When dawn broke, an uneasy excitement filled the air. They would embark on this journey armed with Mondays of memories, love, and perhaps a spark of understanding. But the real question loomed. Would they emerge as a stronger family or fractured by the revelations hidden within their shared history? They packed lightly, but Sarah carried a heavy heart, full of questions that needed answers. The uncertainty was palpable, leaving an imprint on her soul. As they hit the road, the landscape blurred by, trees and buildings morphing into indistinct shapes. Moments turned into hours. With each mile marker that passed, the depth of their journey became more real. Do you think she'll forgive you? Sarah's voice cut through the silence. Her mother glanced at her, eyes filled with unspoken emotions. I hope so, but part of me fears she may not. The car hummed steadily along the highway as Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. Forgiveness, love, could they truly find both on this journey? And as the sun dipped low on the horizon, a winding road lay ahead, giving way to their fateful destination. What if finding Devon isn't the end, but just another beginning? Sarah pondered aloud, sensing the world shifting beneath their feet. Little did they know, the truth was waiting just around the bend. Sarah's heart thumped in rhythm with the tires against the asphalt as they drove deeper into the familiar yet foreign landscape of her mother's childhood. The cool evening air spilled through the half-open window, carrying whispers of what lay ahead. She observed the trees, their branches reaching out like lost hands, yearning for connection, a poignant reminder of their own search for reunion. Do you remember it? Sarah finally asked, trying to shake off the silence that enveloped them. Her mother, eyes fixed on the road ahead, let out a soft sigh. It's been years, but some things never fade, she replied, her voice laced with nostalgia. The little bakery on Main Street, the sweet smell of fresh bread, and the river behind the school where I spent all those afternoons. Those sound like happy memories, Sarah said, hope flickering in her chest. Some were, her mother admitted, the weight in her voice returning. But many are wrapped in heartache too. The type of heartache that never really goes away. They continued driving as twilight draped the landscape in shades of orange and violet. A nagging question twisted in Sarah's mind: would those heartaches still bear weight when they reached Devon? Would they be able to break the chains that shackled their family to the past? As they approached the small town, the streetlights became beacons of their journey. Familiar buildings emerged, each one a chapter of a life Sarah had never known. Pastel storefronts stood lined up like old friends, waiting for a reunion that was long overdue. "Is there any way for me to prepare for this?" Sarah asked, glancing at her mother. "To know how to approach her?" "Just be honest, Sarah. Honesty can be a balm, even when it's painful," her mother replied, her voice a mixture of warmth and apprehension. They pulled into a quaint bed and breakfast, the kind of place where small-town secrets filled the air. The wooden sign creaked in the wind, and Sarah could almost sense the stories hiding within its walls. That evening, as they settled into their room, Sarah couldn't sleep. Her body begged for rest, but her mind churned with anxious thoughts. "Mom," she whispered into the quiet night, unsure whether her mother was still awake. "Yes, dear? Are you afraid?" A long pause stretched between them. "Fear and hope sometimes dance together," her mother finally admitted. "But I can't let fear win this time." With those words, a flicker of courage sparked in Sarah's heart. If they were taking this journey together, perhaps they could face whatever darkness lay ahead. The idea of standing together, side by side, felt like a safety net during an acrobatic act. One wrong move, and they could fall hard. Morning arrived with a brightness that felt almost surreal. The sun peeked through the lace curtains, casting delicate patterns on the floor. They dressed quietly, each consumed by their own thoughts. "Ready?" her mother asked, pocketing her keys with a steadiness Sarah envied. "I guess ready as I'll ever be," Sarah murmured, her hands trembling slightly. As they approached the address, an old house with peeling paint and a sagging porch came into view. Time had not been kind, yet it held an undeniable charm that bore witness to a fiercer past. For a moment, Sarah hesitated, gripping the car door tightly. "We can do this." Together, her mother encouraged, her voice firm yet gentle. Taking a deep breath, Sarah stepped out of the car, the crunch of gravel beneath her feet echoing in the stillness. With each step toward the door, her pulse quickened, powering her resolve. "Mom, if it goes wrong, what do we do?" Her mother met her eyes, a fierce glimmer of determination shining through. "Then we face it together, no matter what." The door before them stood as a guardian guarding memories, secrets, potentially painful revelations. As her mother raised her hand to knock, Sarah's heart raced. Would they find closure? A chance at forgiveness? The moment held a charged silence, each tick of the clock echoing the anticipation and dread in the air. But just as her mother's knuckles were about to make contact, a voice from inside interrupted. It was shaky, fragile. "Who is it?" And before Sarah could process, the truth knocked on their door, ready to shake their world. The voice lingered in the air, crackling with expectation. Sarah's heart raced, a blend of fear and curiosity bubbling inside her. She exchanged a quick glance with her mother, whose expression mirrored her own mixture of nerves and determination. It's us," her mother called out, her voice steady despite the tension. "Sarah and Lisa." A heavy silence followed. Sarah could almost hear the clock ticking inside the house, each second amplifying her anxiety. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a woman with deep-set eyes and a face lined with years of unshared stories. Her features were both familiar and foreign, like ghostly reflections of Sarah's mother. "Lisa?" The woman answered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, it's me," her mother replied, swallowing hard. There was a moment of hesitation before the woman stepped aside and gestured them in. The dim hallway was lined with faded photographs, remnants of a life filled with echoes of laughter, heartache, and choices that brought them to this very moment. The woman, Sarah assumed her grandmother, looked at her curiously, her gaze darting over Sarah before settling back on Lisa. "I didn't think you'd come." "Neither did I," Lisa admitted, her voice trembling for the first time. "But I need to talk to you." "We need to talk." Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history bearing down on her as they entered the small living room, crammed with mismatched furniture and forgotten tokens of time. "How did you find me?" Her grandmother's voice was still shaky. "It's complicated. I've been searching for years. I wanted to know about you, about us," her mother confessed, her vulnerability hanging in the air. "Us." The word escaped her grandmother's lips like it was foreign. "What do you mean?" Sarah could see the confusion etched on her grandmother's face, and felt that familiar knot in her stomach tighten. This was the core of everything: the hurt, the silence, and the longing for connection. "I want to understand why you left," her mother began. But the words hung heavily, laden with the fragility of emotions stowed away for so long. Her grandmother turned away, her gaze drifting past the open window to the garden overgrown with weeds. "It was never so simple." "Then make it simple," Lisa urged, her voice rising with a mix of desperation and anger. "All these years, we've been torn apart, not knowing why. I need to know." "We both do." The room filled with an unbearable quietness. Outside, the world continued moving, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing within these walls. "I can't," her grandmother finally said, tears glimmering in her eyes. "You think it's easy? You don't know the choices I had to make." "No, but I want to." "We both do," Sarah added quietly, hand resting on her mother's back, grounding her. The woman took a breath, fragility turning into reluctance. "The truth is always complicated." Sarah's heart twisted painfully as she waited, unsure whether she was ready to hear what lay beneath her grandmother's guarded face. Would it be a story filled with regret, resentment, or perhaps a chance at forging the bonds broken by time? "I didn't plan for any of this," her grandmother continued, finally returning her gaze to them. "I had to protect myself and you." "For what?" Lisa asked, confusion blending with hurt. "For every secret I kept." As those words lingered in the charged space between them, Sarah's world tipped on its axis, and she realized they were on the brink of something monumental, something that could either shatter or mend their fractured lives. But just as her grandmother took a step toward sharing the truth, there was a knock at the door, demanding, insistent. "What if that's someone from the past?" Sarah whispered. Her grandmother froze, dread sweeping across her face, as the knock echoed again, heavy with potential. What was waiting on the other side? As Sarah stood rooted to the spot, the knock reverberated through the quiet room like a thunderclap, demanding to be answered. A breeze rustled the curtains, a fragile signal of the uncertainty swirling around them. What lay behind that door? More shadows, or perhaps a chance for light? "Just wait," her grandmother said, her voice trembling even more than before, as if she too recognized the weight of impending revelations they countered upon. Sarah exchanged a worried glance with her mother, their breaths mingling in the shared tension. Could they really face whatever was about to come? Was there bravery enough to confront the truth? The knock sounded again, stronger this time, shattering the stillness of their makeshift sanctuary. Sarah's heart raced in tandem with her mother's, as they silently willed her grandmother to make a decision. "I need to know," Lisa whispered urgently, eyes pleading. "Who could it be?" Her grandmother hesitated, an avalanche of past emotions threading their way across her countenance. "It could be someone I hoped would never come. Or someone who can help," Sarah interjected, raw determination underlying her curious nature. They had come this far. They all needed answers. With a heavy sigh, her grandmother relented, pushing back the layers of history, quietly weighing ancient grievances and fears. "Fine. But prepare yourselves, there are truths here for all of us." She moved to the door, each step heavy with the burden of secrets. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a weathered figure framed by the golden light just entering, as if the universe conspired to unveil a hidden truth. It was a man, older and grizzled, but strikingly familiar. "Lisa?" he said, his voice caught somewhere between relief and regret. "Jamie," her grandmother said softly, eyes wide with shock. Sarah blinked, taken aback, as time slipped behind them like a forgotten dream. "Who is he?" she managed to stammer, feeling the air crackle with electric anticipation. With a nod, Lisa straightened, at once fierce and terrified. "He's an old friend from back then. Someone from our past." "Why now?" Jamie replied, stepping further into the dim light of the room. "When the ghosts of the past are so hungry for us, the past has a way of catching up," Lisa replied, a hint of defiance in her tone. "But we're ready for the truth." Jamie's gaze darted between them, the weight of the moment bearing down on him. "If that's the case, then it's time we all address what's been left unsaid." The three generations stood on the precipice of a truth that loomed large, pulling them together like gravity, so desperately trying to stitch together a space that had been frayed into secrecy. "I thought I left everything behind when we separated," Jamie continued, his voice low but steely. But the scars you hide inevitably shape who you become, including those of us left in the shadows. Lisa's expression faltered, a storm of emotions surging through her. I didn't want you to find me like this. I pushed everyone away. But I've always known where to find you, Jamie stated plainly. I steady. And believe me, it was never easy. We all have wounds, and it's time to unearth them together. Tension hung in the air, a precarious balance between past and future. Each heartbeat pulsed with unanswered questions, a flood threatening to wash them all anew. Sarah felt the throb of it in her chest. Please, Sarah finally piped up, breaking the silence. What is the truth? How does all of this connect? The silence stretched taut, and then, one by one, they surrendered themselves to the awkward yet necessary unfolding of their ties. Devon was not only your mother's choice. She was a part of a love I didn't protect adequately, Jamie confessed. Your mother and I had a bond that transcended friendship. But life pulled us apart, leaving scars. Lisa flinched, understanding mingled with resentment. You should have fought for me. For us. Jamie took a step closer, eyes sincere. I tried, but you built walls too thick for me to scale. Sarah watched as emotions twisted and danced across her mother's face. Hurt, hate, longing, all intertwining like a twisting vine. You left me to heal alone, Lisa said, a fracture in her tone that mirrored the rift they had lived ever since. It was a painful awakening, yet underneath those raw histories lay the potential for understanding, for connection. The glimmers of remorse sparked like embers, flickering alive. I thought running would save you from me, from my choices, Lisa replied remorsefully. But I was wrong. It only left echoes emptiness. Their past entwined even further, revealing the intricate stitches of their histories. Sarah wrapped her arms around her mother in an instinctive gesture of support, their collective hearts knit together through the complex fabric of their shared pain and the promise of healing. Let us not run anymore. Let us face this, Sarah implored, the fire of determination igniting in her heart. Let us find a way to reconnect. Her mother nodded, tears welling in her eyes as she faced the man who had both hurt her and shaped her. Then let us lay it all out on the table, she said, her voice steady now, filled with newfound hope. The room felt charged with potential, the air crackling like newly ignited flames. They were prepared at last to confront the past, each of them holding pieces that could illuminate the next chapter of their lives. And so, standing together, they began the painstaking yet liberating process of unspooling the tangled threads of their shared lives, bracing together for the truths that lay ahead, knowing that each revelation was a step toward healing, toward understanding, and a chance to redefine what it truly meant to be family. As they began speaking, all three felt the enormity of their decision wash over them. The unearthing of history was a daunting task, but united, they braved what no longer needed to be hidden. They were finally ready to pick up the pieces, rewrite their story together, discovering that even in the face of unresolved pain, love could emerge anew. It was both a beginning and a promise renewing across the fragile and complex landscape of their hearts. So, as you feel your own heart swelling with the power of connections, don't wait, not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and ignite your journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It's crucial for our community. Your thoughts matter, so comment on your emotions and reactions about this transformative ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful journey, fostering their own connections and healing. You need to support this channel, and true fans understand the importance of these actions.